how to start a writing career, how to get to the point where you can make a living full time, how to write full time, everything that you want to know. I put this video together because I had people asking me for it. I have two different kind of audiences that I write for. I have my personal development audience, and then I have a website that's writing about writing. But I figured I'd share this. I know there's some crossover. I know a lot of people who follow personal development also want to be writers too, because everybody wants to be a writer. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Everybody wants to write. Everybody has a book in them. You know, there's a New York Times survey that says that 81% of people want to write a book. So whatever it is about writing, there just seems to be this desire to do it. And that's the first thing I want to start with when it comes to building a writing career. You are going to definitely need one prerequisite in order for you to have a shot at having a successful writing career. Let me get the frog out of my mouth. There's one thing you're going to need to have a successful writing career. You are going to want to write. You are going to want to actually sit down and write. It's not enough to want to be a writer, okay? When I was younger, I just had a love affair with words. I loved taking vocabulary tests, which is super weird. I used to write poems to girls in middle school to get them to like me. Didn't work. I tried writing a novel when I was like 18. So words have always been in the background of my life. So when I got an opportunity to start writing, I took it and ran with it because it's kind of been in the background for so long. And I've coined the term the itch. You have to have the itch to become a writer. You have to have some latent burning desire. Granted, it doesn't mean you have to have acted on it to be successful, because I put off writing for a long time after the first time I considered doing it. But you have to have something like inside of you that really wants to write. And so you have to want to write instead of wanting to be a writer. Okay? You know, Austin Kleon famously said, you have to want the verb. You can't just want the noun. You can't just want to be a writer. You have to want to write. And for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, where this came along, where people are jumping on this bandwagon because they think writing is a great way to get rich. What? No, writing is one of the worst possible ways to get rich. Now, you can make a good living writing. I do. I know lots of people who do. Some people make a great living writing. It's possible. But in terms of like pure money-making schemes, writing is pretty low on the list. And so you have people, I can tell, they want to be a famous, wealthy blogger. They want to freelance. They want to write because somewhere they got it in their head that it's cool and lucrative to write. And it can be, but you have to have that itch first. You don't want to get into writing for the wrong reasons, because you will fail. If you go into writing aiming initially to make a bunch of money, become famous, build this 6-figure blog like those gurus and ads tell you that you're going to do, you will fail. I guarantee it. So you have to come in with the attitude that you actually want to write. I've been writing for 4.5 years now, and part of what sustained me is I actually enjoy it. Like, I actually like to write. You know, I never had a problem too much of like forcing myself to write. It was just someone giving me that first opportunity, and then I was like, it was like I was hooked on crack. Like, literally, it felt so good getting the words on the page. So I know there's people who experience writer's block, and I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying is you have to have an innate desire or wiring to be a writer. And I don't believe that everyone has to be born with the DNA of the next great American author. Like, none of that pretentious type of stuff, but that desire has to be there. And I'm really thankful for myself that I didn't initially come across all of the make six figures blogging, make a bunch of money self-publishing, build a blog, sell a course, get rich. I didn't really know about all that. I just had an opportunity to write. And then I started writing, and I wrote for this website where I got assigned an editor to work with. And I wrote the articles for free just because I was enjoying it. And I worked with that person for like 18 months, just building up a writing habit. And that gave me the fuel to be able to actually turn it into a career, because I wasn't thinking about the outcomes that I would get from it. I was just practicing and having fun with it. So you have to come with that attitude. Now, if we want to talk about where the real opportunities are, there's one place that you can go right now and build a writing career. And it's a website called medium.com. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it, but medium.com is essentially, it's a social media / writing and blogging website, okay? So you go on there, and the great thing about Medium is anybody can sign up for free. It takes 5 minutes, literally. I'll put a link to some guides that I have on getting started on Medium. But Medium is a website where anybody can join. So you have indie writers like me with some experience, you have complete and total newbies, and you have the Washington Post, New York Times. Jeff Bezos posted a blog post on Medium once. Senators, all sorts of people are using the website medium.com. And a couple of cool things about Medium are just the opportunities that it has and the ability to expand your reach. When you have something like the old model of blogging was basically start a WordPress website, which is hard to put together, build up a large email list, which is hard to do, and then create some sort of product to sell to those people to support your writing, whether that be coaching, books, courses, things like that. What's great about Medium is you have an opportunity to get paid for your writing straight up without having to do those extra things. And the way you do that is by joining the Medium Partner Program. You sign up to Medium, and there's a way for you to join this partner program, which is a way that you get paid based off of engagement on your posts. So when someone reads your posts, when someone likes your post or claps for your post, you get paid. Now, Medium has a membership model, and this is how you get paid. So people pay $5 a month to become Medium members, and then they get access to this exclusive content, and then the writers of that exclusive content get paid. Now, you don't have to become a Medium member in order to get paid for your writing, but just from a karma perspective, you probably should. And speaking to another thing, just about kind of karma when it comes to creative careers, if you don't pay for quality work, you're going to have a really hard time earning a living with your own creativity, because you're going to create a subconscious feedback loop that tells you that creative work isn't valuable. So this is why I started becoming members of different sites, paying for art, paying for books, paying for courses, paying it forward. So if you're one of those people who we call them freebie suckers, so if like you sign up to people's email lists just to get like whatever free guide they offer you, and then you never really buy anything, that's fine, but you're kind of sending a subconscious signal to yourself that creative work has no value, right? Anyways, go on to medium.com and sign up for the Medium Partner Program. And the guides I have posted below. I'll walk you through some of the different things that you can do on there. But the great part about Medium is that it has a built-in interface that helps you make really high quality blog posts without having to know how to do code or anything like that. So after you sign up, you can publish a post right away. And there's things you can do to format your post. You can add pictures. You can change heading sizes. You can add media like photos and pictures. And I have all that stuff in the guide. But the most important thing is for you to sign up for Medium and get started right away. Now, I do think that you should have your own WordPress blog to store your writing. And that's important because you never want to put all of your work on another platform. Because if that platform gets shut down, then you lose all of your stuff. So I do have WordPress websites, and over time they have gotten decent amounts of traffic. And I post content to my WordPress website, and then I just copy it over to Medium. Got it? So if you don't have a personal blog, you do want to have that. I'll put another guide below that walks you through how to do that. You can start a blog for as little as like $5 a month and get it hosted and get it going. Okay? But let's get into the nuts and bolts of what you're really trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out how you can turn this thing into a career, how you can be consistent, how you can write in a way that's persuasive, how you can get people to follow you and become part of your tribe. These are the things you want to know, right? So first, spitballing here, I don't have a script. Let's go through some of the basics of what it takes to become a writer who people want to read. First and foremost, for the love of God, do not do this. Please. I see the same mistake happen with writers over and over and over and over and over and over again. You are going to fail as a writer if you make your writing all about yourself. And if what I'm about to say describes you, you have to switch up your style immediately because it's never going to work. So oftentimes when I see an aspiring writer's blog, it reads like a diary. It's essentially an online diary. So their posts will be like, travels to Jamaica, and they'll write this long meandering post about all the sights they saw, how it made them feel, how they perceive things, how they experienced it. And for whatever reason, so many aspiring writers have this self-absorbed style of writing where they just talk about themselves and just kind of vomit out their thoughts. And you don't want to do that because people aren't interested in that. And then people will go, oh, well, what about memoirs and essays, personal essays? Yes, memoirs and personal essays work. But they work because they connect with the reader on the other side of the screen. They're not just rambling about their life aimlessly without a purpose, right? So take a book like Eat, Pray, Love. Eat, Pray, Love was a book by Elizabeth Gilbert, super duper popular memoir, where essentially she gets a divorce and she goes on this like grand adventure traveling all around the world. And she talks about her experiences with that. She wrote the book about herself, but Eat, Pray, Love is not a book about Elizabeth Gilbert. Okay? Eat, Pray, Love is a book about every woman who feels trapped in her circumstances, who wants to escape and go on an adventure. So even if you're telling those type of stories, you always want to connect it to the person on the other side. You want to write in a way that they identify with. And that could be through a story where a lot of people share the same experience. A lot of people do feel trapped in their circumstances. So if you talk about your adventure of escape, then that will relate to people. But randomly talking about your trip to Jamaica is in a different universe from talking about escaping your life to travel the world. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay? So you have to get over it. And it's like a parasitic infection in writers' brains where they just don't seem to get it. Next time, I'll make sure to turn my ringer off when I do these videos. I know this is like the second time it's happened, but I'll make sure in the future that it doesn't. So what are some of the ways that you can make sure that you're writing for the person on the other side? Here are a couple of simple tips that you can use. Number one, use the word you. If you notice that you are using the word I quite a bit in your writing, that probably means you're putting too much of the focus on yourself. You want to use the word you a lot, and you want to get inside the reader's head to see what they're thinking. And so, aside from using the word you, what are some other things that you can do? Well, there's some basic blogging techniques that you should learn, and I'll go through some of them, and then I'll leave some notes in blog posts that'll help you a little bit further. But, kind of from top to bottom, how you'd want to write a blog post in the quote unquote blogging style that works. First thing you want to do is write a headline. So a headline is essentially answering the question, why should I read your post? And a good way to figure out what you're trying to put for your headline involves getting into the reader's mind and thinking about a couple things. What are they afraid of? What frustrates them? What are they aspiring to be? What are their hopes and dreams? So let's say you're in the health niche and you want to write a blog post for your target audience. Well, what are some pain points? Pain points are people who start and stop losing weight all the time, who can't keep it off. Pain points are people wanting to go on a diet but having hunger pains. Pain points are people being in an environment where they are unable to stay healthy because they are with family who have snacks and bad food around them, or they're in an office setting with cake and donuts. So you got to think, what is the reader feeling pain about? What keeps them up at night? And then when you go to what they're aspiring to do, let's use the health niche again. They want to look good naked. That's vanity. We all have that. Everybody wants to look good naked. They want to be able to live longer and thrive in their careers. They want to be able to enjoy time with their family, play with their kids without getting tired, things like that. So you have to think about it that way when you're coming up with ideas. And then once you have an idea of some of the pain points that your audience is having, as well as some of the things that they aspire and hope to do, you can create headlines. Okay? And you don't have to overcomplicate it with headlines. So a lot of times I'll write a headline, how to. How to is a great headline style for beginning writers. Listicles. As much as people hate on listicles, it's essentially proven that people love reading them. So it's kind of like a dirty little secret, right? If you took a survey of every man, would all of them admit to watching porn? No, but they all do, right? Same thing with listicles. Weird analogy, but let's just run with it, right? So how to listicles, talking about something that they can get out of it. So I'll write a headline along the lines of the secret to. So it's like, okay, what secret? You know what I mean? Just go to my profile. I'll put a link to it. And you'll see in my headline style what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pique curiosity. Or if it's something that solves a pain point, I will try to agitate the problem, right? So sometimes I might write a headline like, are you making this mistake when it comes to your career? Because, people are self-conscious and they're like, what mistake? Yeah, I kind of want to know if I'm screwing up. So a good way to write well in the blogging style is to learn how to play with people's emotions. Let me shut this phone off. Hold on. Okay. So you want to get in the habit of practicing headlines and writing headlines that tap into people's emotions. And the easiest way to come up with headlines is just to write them down a lot. I write down 10 new headlines a day. And I've been doing this for 4 years. And that's why now I can kind of off the cuff write one. So you have to get in the habit of practicing headlines. And you have to get in the habit of putting the focus on the reader on the other side. And some other ways that you can do that, moving down on the blog post, but then you have your introduction. So what are some of the things that you can put into an introduction to intrigue people? Oftentimes I use questions. So let's say the article is about getting unstuck, and then I might start it with, do you feel stuck? Do you feel like no matter what you do, your life is never going to get better? Do you feel like you're wasting time? So what you want to do is get people to start mentally nodding their head. And that gives you that kind of mind reading effect where you're connecting with them. Problem, agitation, solution formula. So the problem, agitation, solution formula is where you identify the problem you're having and then you agitate it. You talk about the consequences of continuing to go through that downward spiral. And then your blog post becomes the solution, right? And from headline to introduction, you want to grab their attention right away because readers are very fickle. And they'll click away from your blog post if they're not intrigued. I mean, you do it, you know. So you want to focus on getting their attention right away. And that's why I think the idea of clickbait is a little bit, pretentious. Like, you want people to read your stuff. So you don't have to overdo it, but if you got to get them in the door to read it. And then when it comes to the content itself, I mean, there's a lot of different angles that I could come from. Keeping things succinct and to the point. Like, my personal style is I'm not super verbose with my writing. I just kind of keep things tight. I will contract words. Like, instead of you will, I'll make it you will. I like short sentences and short paragraphs. Now, that's not a cardinal rule, but that's just my rule. I use headings and subheadings quite a bit to break up the content. I add pictures to my posts, all sorts of stuff. But what you're aiming for initially is kind of just the traditional blogging style, curiosity, intriguing headline. And then, you have your listicle, whether it's 10 points, whatever. Or you can just go with a simple 5-part structure essay. Real simple. Headline, you have 3 main points, and then you have a conclusion. And then with your conclusion, you just want to call to action, like a rallying cry. You want to make people feel motivated, or you want to leave them feeling curious and wondering. You want to have them thinking about your writing at the end and then beyond when they're done reading. So that's how you put together a blog post. And honestly, I kind of put people through their paces. Like, I put my students through their paces and I teach them just regular old school blogging techniques, even if that's not necessarily the direction they want to go in, because learning it that way is easier than you going straight for kind of the esoteric, flowery style. Like, now, I think I could write a memoir. I think I could even write a novel eventually. But that's because I just went through the normal blogging pathway. And what blogging teaches you is how to add a marketing element to your writing, first of all. Prolific fiction writer Sean Platt, who makes like $1 bajillion writing serial novels, he actually credits learning copywriting, marketing, to the success of his novels. So it taught him how to write novels that have a good kind of galloping pace. And then anytime that you learn about marketing and persuasion, you get deep into the psyche of human beings, which helps you create a better story anyway, right? So learn traditional blogging techniques. Don't be one of these holier than thou people who think that they're above being just a blogger, right? There's a lot of people with MFAs and traditionally published books, and they have their stuff in Barnes and Noble. But guess what? I got the shekels, all right? The bloggers have the influence. Publishers are cherry picking superstar bloggers now because bloggers know marketing. Bloggers have a built-in audience. Bloggers know how to do the work. A lot of people who go the other route of just kind of being pretentious, oh, I hope my book gets picked up by HarperCollins. All right, good luck with that. And the dirty little secret is that most traditionally published authors are broke. Most books in Barnes and Nobles don't sell anything. So it's not even a worthwhile goal when it comes to real metrics. All right, but you want to have that blogging mentality, and I'll leave some blog posts teaching you how to do that, and just keep with a basic structure. And after that, you're just going to want to build a habit. So you're going to be posting your stuff on your blog. You're going to be reposting it on Medium. You're going to be using simple blogging formulas, and you're going to want to write often. If you want to get traction on places like Medium, you should be writing minimum 2 blog posts a week, ideally 3 to 5. But depending on your pace, like some people just can't be that prolific, and it's totally fine. But you want to be at least writing 2 blog posts a week. And so the framework that I use, I write 10 headline ideas a day. And then the ones that are good, I'll kind of save them in a document called my headline bank. So I'll have a bunch of ideas. So I'm always generating ideas so that I don't have to always be coming up with ideas. So when you're proactive about it, then you become an idea generator, and it's much easier for you. So I'll look and say, okay, these are the articles I want to write this week. And then when it comes to an article I want to write, I will do something called a mind map. And that's just where you make a circle, main subject, and you branch out. And then you branch out sub-subjects in that. And then you just take that, and then you just put it together into a simple outline. You know, you have your headline, 3 main points, and maybe put 3 bullet points of sub-points for each, and then your close. And then you write the post. While you're writing the post, don't look up facts while you're writing. So if I'm looking for a fact or an anecdote or a quote, I'll just put a placeholder in there so that I can get through the draft first, and then I'll go back. And that cuts a lot of time. People don't realize how much task switching, like going between different tasks, actually compound how much longer it'll take you to get that draft done. So go through it. Take the ethos of putting together the shitty first draft. It works. All right. Put the first draft together. I do maximum 3 edits. So the second time I'll go through, I'll add the placeholders. I'll look at the structure, see if it fits, maybe move things around a little bit. And then the final pass, I'll polish the words up, maybe read it out loud to make sure it sounds good. And then I hit publish. All right. So on Medium, in order to do the type of volume that's going to help you earn an income and build a following, you're going to have to publish quite frequently, and you're going to have to become prolific and make it a habit. In terms of making your writing a habit, you just have to make it a habit. Like you guys are we all overthink this habit thing way too much. Pick a time to write. For 4 years, I woke up at 5 a.m., drank my coffee, meditated, did my mind map, did my outline, wrote my blog post, published it, went to work. Don't overcomplicate it. Tap into that itch. Like you really want to be a writer, then you are going to have to write 2 to 3 times a week, every week, for a long time. And things will improve. You will get income coming in. You will get more fans coming in. But then you have to wait for that to happen. I'm in so many, I see so many people in like various Facebook groups, even particularly pertaining to Medium. Like they're so focused on the little minutia aspects, like, oh, I only got this many views on the post, this many things, blah, 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 blah. Another thing about Medium is there is this team called the curation team. And on Medium, if one of the curators select your articles, they kind of promote it for you, right? So I'm in various writers groups where everyone's so obsessed. Oh, I need to get curated. I need to get curated. I need to get curated. They're like looking for little hacks, and they're like emailing the curation team to get curated and get promoted. I don't do any of that. I just write. I am a writing machine. I write circles around people because I realize that focusing on the craft is above all else. Gotta focus on the craft, man. You want to be a winner? You want to do this? Like, you say you want to do this, but do you really want to do this? Do you really want to be a winner? Winners practice. People in today's society, they don't want to be great. Nobody wants to be great. Everybody just wants everything to get handed to them. They want to blog for 6 months and get famous. Suck it up. Write your ass off, all right? Cheryl Strayed, famous author, she wrote the book Wild, and she wrote this advice column book that's really good. It's called Dear Sugar, and one of the readers reached out to her asking about, becoming a writer, and she's like, "Oh, I got my MFA, and I'm like 26 years old, and I'm struggling," and she's like, "Dude, stop." You know what her advice was? Write like a motherfucker, all right? So that's what you got to do. You have to write like a motherfucker. Just write. And if you do it the right way, it will pay off for you. And there are some people who will push back and say, "Hey, well, I've been writing for a long time and nothing is happening." They don't understand what real practice looks like. So writing a lot isn't enough. If you write in a certain style and you realize it's not working, continuing to write that way is dumb. But people do it anyways. They'll write out their personal journal blog for like years and wonder why it's not popping. No, you need to look at the feedback you're getting. Look at what works, what doesn't. Tweak over time. Go on to websites like Medium. Study what works. Like, you have to become an observer of how things resonate. Like, you have to have intuition and look at other people's writing to intuit what's good about it. So a lot of people don't want to do that legwork. I go on Medium and other places online all the time, and I read and I'm like, okay, why do I like this? Why did that headline make me want to click? What was it about this line that pulled me in? I studied people who are ahead of me and tried to reverse engineer their success. And that's what you have to do. So build that writing habit, focus on regular blogging structure, and just go. Don't get overly concerned about your niche either. Come on. Everything is readily available. All this information is readily available. You know what the niches are. Self-improvement's a niche. Parenting is a niche. Health is a niche. Culture and politics is a niche. History is a niche. Social media there's you guys know what the damn niches are. You're just scared. You're just scared to sit your butt down in the chair and write. So none of this complaining about niche. Especially on Medium, there's people who they just write about whatever. And you can be multifaceted. So use that as your practicing ground. Practice in public. Nobody knows who you are anyways. So if your first couple blog posts aren't that great, trust me, ain't nobody going to see them. So use that. Use your obscurity to your advantage. Okay? I probably should just break it up and do additional videos because there's a lot to cover. But if you just started your own blog, self-hosted blog, I'll put directions on there. Sign up for Medium. Learn the basic structure of a blog post. How-to headlines, listicles, pain points, aspirations, hopes. Write intriguing introduction, have your main points, mind map them out, bullet point them out, write the post, edit, and then edit one more time, hit publish, let it go, ship. Do that 2 to 3 times a week for 6 months, and you'll see some things happening with both your blog and your Medium profile. Yeah, just do that. And then there's other things that I'll talk about in other videos, but marketing is something you want to focus on. So having something to offer in exchange for people getting on your email list is something that you still want to do. Having an email list is still important. It's something that I've kept up with, though it's not a super big focus. That's something I also do. Learning how to network with other people, clapping for other people's work on Medium, sharing their stuff on social media, reaching out to people you respect, tactfully and asking for advice or, just telling them thank you and how they've helped you with their stuff. Just get out there. Like, I don't really have to give you too much advice beyond get that Medium account going and just look at what's working and then just put your head down and work, okay? Your first 100 blog posts aren't going to be very good. Get those out of the way. Like your first 100 of everything, get those out of the way. My first 100 YouTube videos are not going to be very good. Like, look at this. Like, I have to go get a shade for this because that window is creating weird light. I have this random $5 light that I bought. It's, I have a $20 mic. I'm not in a studio, but I'm not going to wait to become the world's greatest YouTuber by studying YouTube videos and watching instructional videos on YouTube and buying the fanciest equipment. No, the best way for me to learn how to become a good YouTuber is to put videos on YouTube. The best way for me to learn what works well on this platform is to put my stuff on the platform, see how people respond to it, kind of compare myself to other people on YouTube, reverse engineer what they're doing, learn nuance over time. And the same thing goes with writing. It all boils down to just write. Like, you guys don't want to write, do you? I don't want to come across as harsh, but like, do you want to do this? Like, do you want to be a writer? Or do you just have a desire to be this like famous blogger? You have to figure that out. And so anybody who starts writing today after seeing this video, send me your link and I will analyze what you've written. All right. How about that for a call to action? Write something. Actually, since so many people don't even follow through, and I want to really help people who just want to help themselves, if you see this video, send me an email with a draft of your Medium blog post, and I will review it. So my email is Awosika@gmail.com. If you create a draft of a post on Medium and send it to me via email, I'll give you some pointers. All right, I'll do more in other videos, but those are the basics of how to get started. Okay, subscribe to the channel. Maybe I'll do a separate writing channel, but for now I'm keeping the stuff all in one place. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, let me know, and I will see you next time.